So I watched the Terminator Dark Fate movie, thinking it was as bad as people say, and to my surprise, it wasn't. It was so much worse. I made a comprehensive list of the flaws that I saw right after watching the movie. Some YouTubers dropped by and gave their own observations regarding the failings of the movie.
You forgot they killed him? The Major just gave them a free jet because there was a robot chasing them? Why is this movie?
Not to mention, Gracie's power cell just so happens to function as an EMP device? How? Why?
Your handwriting looks like my mom's.
Some people also chimed in about what they felt was the problem with Terminator Dark Fate, but there is someone who doesn't understand why the film failed.
I mean, I'm sure we could write a book on why it didn't work, although I'm still not sure and I'm processing, but...
Don't worry, Tim. Dr. Weekend is on the case. Give it to me straight, doctor. What is your diagnosis? It's... terminal. I get it. It's because I'm the Terminator franchise, right? No. It's because you killed your franchise with Dark Fate. I find it very amusing. Dark Fate feels like fan fiction. Bad fan fiction. Not just bad fan fiction. Bad fan fiction's take on Terminator 1 and 2. So before we head out and really discuss the depths of its failure, let's understand what made the first movies great. And I'm gonna spoil things here on out. Last warning. Terminator 1 follows the story of Kyle Reese as he was sent back in time to protect Sarah Connor, mother of John Connor, savior of humanity. JC. Do you get it? He's Jesus. Now she's being hunted by the Terminator. Turns out the movie is a closed loop because Sarah Connor being saved has the side effect of conceiving John Connor, because John Connor's dad is actually Kyle Reese. Oh my god. At this point, I'd like to point out that the existence of Kyle Reese is fucked. The guy you admire growing up, the man who saves humanity, is your son, but you don't know that. But he knows that, and he's setting you up subconsciously with his mom. Like, out of every soldier in the fucking unit in his army, you're the guy he gives the picture to? Isn't that weird? Now, John Connor is equipped with the knowledge from his mother that he could actually be the leader of the resistance. In a desperate attempt to stop John Connor, Skynet sends back a Terminator to kill his mother, Sarah Connor, thus ensuring its own demise. It's like poetry. It rhymes. Terminator 2 follows Terminator 1, literally, in that it's a direct sequel, and figuratively, since it's an iteration of Terminator 1. What does this mean? They just make things bigger and betterer. The Terminator unit is now the one sent back in time to save JC. Sarah Connor also is battle-hardened and capable of protecting JC. So you got two badasses against an even more dangerous version of the Terminator, a liquid metal Terminator. Aside from that, they add on a lesson, a message. No fate but what we make, since instead of letting the bad future just happen, instead of just letting John prepare, the heroes are actively trying to stop it from happening. It has one of the best moments in cinematic history, I think, where Miles Dyson actually stops Skynet from ever happening. Like, he's atoning for a crime he has yet to commit, but when he realizes the gravity of it, like, he did not hesitate to even go. The dude was just hanging out in his house, having dinner with his family. And then, he does this sacrifice for the future. I didn't ask for this feel, man. And of course, that final moment. This is why I think Terminator 2 is an improvement over Terminator 1. It is the superior film. Terminator 1 ends on a sour note. No matter what happens, Judgment Day will arrive. But Terminator 2, it's more open-ended, and I would like to think the future is not set in stone and Judgment Day never arrives. And the irony of the robot sacrificing himself The robot doesn't realize that what he's doing is very noble throughout this whole movie. But we as the audience and the characters in the movie grow to like and respect the Terminator. It's almost like the machine became human for a brief moment. It is such a great movie, you know? And then we get this piece of shit. Welcome to the day after Judgment Day. Really says it all, doesn't it? The greatest tragedy of the Terminator franchise is that the two movies were pretty self-contained and said everything that needed to be said about that story. But it made too much money, and the people who own the rights won't let this shit go. Mike from Redditor Media likes to point out that a sequel should be the same but different. Terminator Dark Fate is the same but worse.
It was something that I thought, let me explore this. Let me see if there's something there to be said that hasn't been said. I wasn't caught up in the nostalgia of... I didn't necessarily want to go back and recreate past glories.
The funny thing about his statement is that Dark Fate has a young lady being saved by a time-traveling young lady from something that looks like a Terminator, but they call it a Rev 9. Because technically, in this new timeline, Skynet doesn't happen. But it still looks like the Terminator.
That's original.
And what's so special about Rev 9, huh? It's the liquid metal Terminator, but it could split into two.
That's original.
But what happens if you leave a Terminator with his learning computer, with his neural network CPU, just with no mission and no purpose, awash in human society for 2.5 decades? What happens to that guy? To me, that was interesting.
I agree, Cameron. Maybe you should have made that movie instead of this rehash. And do you know what James Cameron did to make this interesting scenario happen? He kills off Jesus in the beginning of Dark Fate. What the fuck? Did you miss the point of the movies? What are you doing? I mean, I don't understand why they would do it. Core fans wouldn't like this shit. People who just watch this now won't understand the significance of that scene. And you do know who the genius mind is behind this clever maneuver.
But why?
Let's just pull the carpet out from underneath all our assumptions of what the Terminator movie is going to be about. Did you just plan to subvert expectations? Only the master can do that shit. And how come these fuckers have yet to realize the consequences of subversion?
Someday this war is gonna end. Not the Star Wars, that will never end.
I think part of the reason is that instead of just telling the same story but worse, they did it while using characters from the past movies to clearly prop up their terrible movie. But their presence in the movie raises more questions than answers. Arnold is there because he's so iconic as the character. Even in that one Terminator movie where he wasn't in the poster, he still made a cameo, or his likeness was used.
But what happens if you leave a Terminator with his learning computer, with his neural network, just with no mission and no purpose?
Why the fuck would he do anything? Did you watch the second movie?
I'm gonna go get my mom, and I order you to help me.
The only reason that the Terminator does shit in the second movie was that he was ordered to. The only time he manages to overcome his programming was at the end with some character development for the movie. In Dark Fate, he doesn't get that. We're just supposed to believe that when he sees someone beating up another girl, he just steps in to save them when he has no reason to. He wasn't ordered to. Also, why would he develop a conscience? Did you forget the movie you made, Cameron?
I know now why you cry. But it's something I can never do.
Like he has an intellectual idea of what human emotions are, but as to himself experiencing it, he will not have that sentiment literally and figuratively. Sarah Connor is there when she really should be dead. Think about the setup, guys. At the beginning of the movie, she just holds her son, her dead son, in her arms. It's very sad. But why didn't she even try to go after the Terminator? She would have tried to kill the Terminator and died trying. Or she would have killed herself, or be in a mental institution. She was not in the best headspace when Terminator 2 began. At this point, she has no reason to believe that Judgment Day will not happen. And she failed protecting her son.
John, it was stupid of you to go there. God damn
Damn it, you have to be smarter than that. You almost got yourself killed.
She would be suicidal. She would go insane. One of those options. And now, okay, after this unbelievable scenario, she receives text after John dies, where she gets GPS coordinates, a Terminator appears, and she just blows the fuck out of it solo. Hey, remember the Terminator movies where it took us a factory and several days before they got to the factory to kill Terminators? Nah, bruh. Shoot it until it dies. I'm supposed to believe that a drunk old lady can just kill Terminators casually? Yeah, right. Linda Hamilton was just there to justify the fact that they killed John Connor. It's okay, guys. She's gonna train the next John Connor. Which brings me to my next point. I don't believe that she could lead the future army to save mankind from the Terminators. I just don't. The way they presented her was the dumbest shit. Like, they tried every trick in the book to make her look like a badass. Emphasis on tried. Rather than make her look like a badass, it makes her look like a child making play at war. Especially when she tried to beat up those people. I don't fucking believe it. Am I supposed to believe that a 5'1" person can just go up and challenge people who are clearly taller than her? I mean, she's not even muscular. I think that's why they gave her the coat. It's okay to flex your muscles in some other ways. If you're a leader, use your numbers. If you're smart, use tactics. There is more than one way of being strong. But no, she has to be the one who beats up those guys for some reason. I get that she has training. I get that she's military now, whatever. But it doesn't... I don't buy it, is what I'm saying. The film has not convinced me that this character could transform. They could have done that at the end of the film against the Rev 9. She could have just shoved the weak spot thing on the Rev 9, ending the threat forever. But no, she has to do some stupid bullshit and shoot at it instead of just doing the logical thing, inserting that motherfucking thing already. Just fucking do it. No, we have to have some drama shit. I'm gonna kill you now, fucker. No. Don't say you're gonna kill it. Just kill it. When she's swinging the shotgun at it, the actress is clearly having a hard time swinging the weapon. The future leader of humanity. And she couldn't even stab the Rev 9 on her own. Carl needed to come back to life. The Terminator, Arnold, had to come back to life and help her so she could then stab it in the eye. Instead of just stabbing it immediately when it's totally fucking helpless, just go behind it and stab it. How hard is that shit? Sarah Connor has a more convincing moment in Terminator 1.
On your feet, soldier!
I can believe that she's the mother of John Connor and she's gonna deliver her baby to safety. And that baby is gonna be the leader of the future. And Sarah Connor also smashed the shit out of the Terminator on her own. Okay? A far stronger, better character. And she didn't need any fucking dreadlocks or black eyeliner when she delivered that line. So Grace as half machine, half man isn't a bad idea. What is bad is the imposition of some sort of time limit when she uses her powers.
Just enhanced. You know, increased speed and strength.
She has to inject medicine so that she stays alive. Why would you send that back in time? What if she meets the Terminator, fights it off, but doesn't tell the person she's trying to save that she needs medicine just before dying? Like she's fucked. The person she's trying to save is fucked. Future's gone. It's not really smart. It's better to send a human who just needs water and food than some complicated medicine person who occasionally needs an injection. What the hell's up with that? And these characters are not the worst thing about the movie. The existence of this movie is the worst thing about it. Because this movie contradicts the first two movies. There is no fate but what you make for yourselves. The existence of this film just spits on the face of that lesson, since the events in Terminator 1 and 2 are fucking useless. Humanity would still get invaded by robots. The lesson now is not no fate but what we make. Now it's don't even try. Shit's gonna happen anyway. And it's more ridiculous because when she realizes that the little girl she saved was Grace, she has this look of recognition. She also sent Grace back in time with the coordinates to Arnold's house. So she did this shit before. So Grace dies trying to save Danny, and she wants to save Grace from her impending death. But the movie sort of implies that you can't. She knew what was coming, basically. So that would mean the events of the movie had to happen for her to know who Grace was. It's kind of a closed loop. They did a closed loop.
You taught us there is no fate but what we make for ourselves.
So not only does the movie contradict the message of the first two movies, it contradicts what it's trying to say. It is such a bad movie. This feels like the myth of Sisyphus. Sisyphus, if you don't know, is this dude that is condemned by the gods in Greek mythology to roll a rock on top of a hill, put it down, and do it forever. This kind of feels like the Terminator franchise. Desperately trying to get a win, desperately trying to rake in money, but it's not gonna work. Because I think the story has been told very well, and you should just leave it alone. You know what else I like about Greek lore? Tragedies.
I'm proud of the movie, and it's just bad luck, or bad timing, or hubris on my part.
Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, leave a like. If you disliked it, leave a dislike. If you want to see more videos of mine, subscribe to the channel and click the bell for notifications. If you particularly like this type of content, maybe you could consider contributing to the Weekend War Chest via Patreon, like these wonderful patrons: Tad586, Chet McMasterson, Nerzul I, Rayo Rules, Daniil Dmitriev, Hjortur S. Hjorturson, John Lemley, Samuel Dillon, Billy DeVoe, African Jones, and Logic, as well as these other wonderful warriors.